Hey, we're here and we're back with Miss Stacey Riska, who is your lifestyle and franchise matchmaker. She's a return guest on the show, and Stacey is on a mission to help you achieve the lifestyle and work style you deserve by exploring business ownership as your next. She was here a bunch of years ago talking about the action marketing system: attention, connect, transaction, invest, ongoing, and nurture. But now we're talking about something even more exciting, which is to do what you love and love what you do, escape the 9 to 5 grind, be your own boss, create this sort of dream business. And so Stacy is going to fill us in on the misconceptions people have about franchise ownership, how franchising is the best choice for long-term success, and so much more. Big picture stuff. It's so exciting to think about, but also maybe a little scary. So Stacy will help us navigate that. So Stacy, glad to see you again.
Welcome to What's Your Next. This is the go-to podcast for aspiring business owners who want to get to the next level, escape the rat race, and give their middle finger to the corporate 9 to 5. If you want financial freedom, work-life balance, and the business of your dreams, you're in the right place. Dave and Stacey Riska, husband-wife franchising duo, openly share their successes, failures, and lessons learned in franchising, business ownership, and working with your spouse.
Oh, wonderful to be with you and your audience today.
Likewise, it's one thing to like sit on the computer and spend time, and then you say, well, I'll go on the messages and I'll network, but then to double dip, right? To have a conversation, plus it gets to be content that lasts for years, plug in other people's network. There's like 5 or 6 positives to doing it. And so we're here to make you look good, right? We're here to get people excited about these solutions that you provide. So what currently has you jazzed up? What has you so just excited, focused, and just jumping out of bed in the morning?
What gets me motivated is helping people, as my wall says, do what you love what you do. Because as you just alluded to in that intro, look, people are hating the 9 to 5. Nobody wants to be stuck behind a desk. People want lifestyle. People want flexibility. People want freedom. And so having been down all of the different paths of having a job, starting a business from scratch, buying and selling businesses along the way, ultimately myself investing in a franchise, I know that helping people explore franchise ownership can be the best path to help people achieve their dream of lifestyle. So that's what I do today.
Very nice. And I love the do what you love, do what you do, love what you do, because it's cyclical, right? It's not just okay, I've done what I love and I'm done. You're like, well, hey, it feeds on itself, right? And it's this continuous loop. And when you come across people that there's basically like 2 paths, right? There's people that have like maybe built themselves a job, and there's all this chaos and stress, and it's like maybe a job would have been better than what you created. And then you come across these business people, and they really know their stuff, right? They know their financials, they have systems, they have employees. It seems like they can really focus on what their passion is and what gets, what kind of excites them. And my mind was blown a couple of years ago, because when you think about franchises, you think about like a McDonald's or like a Subway or something like that. But in all the podcasting randomness, I came across a guy that I think was like a garage door repair franchise, and like a landscaping franchise. I'm like, whoa! Like if you want to do this thing that to make money and kind of build your business empire, like I'm sure there's like like service providers, companies out there we don't even know that they're franchises, because it seems like there's something for everyone.
Robert, you're absolutely right. And look, let's face it. Nobody wakes up today saying, hey, I want to buy a franchise. But you know
Sure.
what? A lot of people are curious about it. So, pop quiz for you and your audience. You mentioned some of the big names out there in franchise, and we all know there's one. But how many do you think there are? How many different franchise concepts do you think there are?
I'm guessing 17,000.
Okay, good. 17,000. But no, that's not it. The real answer is 4,000. There are more than 4,000 different franchises. And so most people, when they're open to at least learning and exploring franchises, they'll come to me and they'll say, oh, no, I don't want to do fast food and French fries. That's what franchises are, right? No, because some of the ones like you just mentioned, garage doors, home services, if you can think of a business, a concept, a category, there is likely a franchise for it.
Well, very exciting. And so, what holds people back from jumping on the franchise train? You think that, well, sometimes there's the fear of like, well, my ego is getting in the way, right? I want to make my own brand. Or there's also with franchise, you have associated like there are like rules or startup costs or things like that. It almost feels like an HOA hell, but for your business. And so, what are these objections to franchising?
There are a lot of misconceptions about it. And a lot of this ties around, oh, franchises, they have royalties. I don't want to pay any royalties. Well, you know what? You should be thrilled to pay royalties because what you're investing in is a proven system. Because, Robert, you can go out, you can go start a business today. You have that entrepreneurial spirit, go start a business from scratch. Well, good luck. And here's the stats. The reality is, if you're a business starting from scratch, 9 out of 10 of you are going to fail by year 5. But it's completely opposite with franchises. 9 out of 10 are still in business by year 5. And that's because it is a proven system. Many of the franchises today, the top brands that I work with, they're actually partners with you. They're helping you do the back office, meaning they're answering your phone calls, they're booking the jobs, they're helping you do the marketing, they're helping you get the customers, clients, patients in the door. And so when you think of doing that on your own, are you really going to be able to invest all the tools and technologies that big franchise operations have? What ends up happening is you end up being, yes, you're the CEO, but you're the chief everything officer. And you end up just spinning your wheels. You're not good at delegating. It's really hard to grow and scale. And you just end up staying a small mom and pop. And that's where being part of a franchise can really give you a competitive edge.
Well, this makes a lot of sense so far. So you're saying that if we try to do it all from scratch, then the worst case scenario is we fizzle out in a couple of years. And a mid case scenario is that like, maybe we just stay a mom and pop, like stay in the struggle years for a long time. And maybe even a better or best case scenario is we get through those 10 years, finally figuring out the proven system that we could have just picked up and started using from the beginning. And so I'm curious about like what the pie chart looks like, right? We said that the assumption is that franchises are fast food, but these companies that you help, is there like a easy to understand breakdown of the categories? Like what kinds of businesses are franchise, or is it all of them?
It's amazing. If you can think of a business or a category, there is likely a franchise for it. Now, does that mean all of them are great? Probably not. That's why working with someone like me who can help lean you towards and figure out which ones make the most sense for you is a good strategy. Because most people, they'll want to go out to Google and put their names in these portals and wish they had never done that. What I do tend to do is lean towards categories of business that are really strong and trending. So some of the ones that I really like have to do with children and education because parents will always spend money on their kids. I love the idea of home services because people are always putting money into their home. You know, you think about simple things like air conditioning, heating, but home services is the gamut, everything from the roof inside the home, including the lawn. If you can think of a concept having to do with the home, there's a franchise for it. And one of my favorite ones that's really trending, or should I say booming, pun intended, is senior care. Because there are 10,000 people turning 65 every single day, and that trend's going to continue for the next 20 years. And there are so many different business models under each of these categories. So whether it's children and education, home services, senior care, and another of my favorites is the four-legged children, pets. So it could be a home-based model. Some people just want to work from home. So there are home-based models. There are mobile options where you go out and service the customer, all the way up to the physical brick and mortar that we're all used to seeing on the side of the road as we drive down the street.
Very exciting. So you're listing a lot of, I guess, what they call recession-proof industries, right? Where like even if people like economy tanks, people give up all the luxuries, you still need your senior care. You still need to fix up your home. You still need to take care of your dog. And so when people come to you looking for help of getting their franchise business started, do they sometimes say like, oh, well, like, are they defeatist? Do they say like, well, it must already be taken in my area, or like, what kind of value can I provide if I just plug and play this system? Then like, what am I even doing here?
A lot of times, candidates will come to me because at least they're open to learning and exploring. And many times they'll come with a specific concept in mind, like, oh, I saw this or I heard about this. So, or worst case, they'll come to me and they'll say, Robert, you, Robert, will come to me and say,
Sure.
Stacy, I love donuts. So I want to open a donut franchise. And my answer will always be, don't do it. Because you never want to open a business for something that just because it's something that you love or you saw a long line out the door. It's more important to get into a business, kind of what you alluded to, that has recession resistant traits, right? But we're also looking at what you're looking for. What is your why? Are you looking for freedom and flexibility in your schedule? Are you looking to have more time with your family? Are you looking to build wealth? Are you just looking to get out of a 9-to-5 job? Some people, there's many different reasons, I call them the 8 F's, of why people might be interested in exploring a franchise. And getting clarity on that is just one of the factors that I'm looking at when I match people to the right franchise. Let me tell you a story that may put this into hindsight. In the beginning, as we were talking, I shared very quickly the journey that I've been down all of the past. And so you might be wondering, well, how did you end up in your franchise, Stacy, which is a Hawaiian-themed coffee smoothie franchise? Now, granted, when I first started my business, it was doing outsourcing and back office work, and the businesses that I bought and snapped onto it were in warehousing and doing forklifts and mailings and back office work like call center, mailing, fulfillment. That has nothing to do with coffees and smoothies. So I joke when I had my midlife crisis after selling my business, what am I going to do next? And somebody who does what I do today, luckily, I worked with them and they helped me get clarity on what was important to me. And what I wanted was something that I would have fun doing, that I could help people, that money was an important driver for me, but so was freedom and flexibility. And ultimately, the coach came back to me and said, in your perfect life, what would you be doing? And I said, you know what? I'd love to live at the beach, work behind a tiki bar serving umbrella drinks. And they said, we have the perfect franchise for you, which it actually ended up being so, which was this Hawaiian-themed coffee smoothie franchise. So I owned it for 19 years. And ever since day one, I was the #1 franchisee in the system. And just this past December, I sold it. That was my exit. And I can tell you that I never would have found that on my own. If I had gone to Google and typed in franchises for whatever, first of all, that one never would have come up on my radar. I never would have thought that I was a match for it, and therefore I never would have moved forward in it. But it ended up being the right match. And when it's the right match, you too could possibly be the #1 franchisee in your system, because you know that you're being correctly matched. You're going to get the support. It fits your investment profile. And the way that they do business is going to match well with you and achieving your why.
Well, now your matchmaker type of branding makes a lot of more sense, right? Because people are just trying to solve this problem of like what do I do? What do I do with my life? Midlife crisis, etc. And you're touching on that ikigai concept, right? Of you say, well, you need something that pays the bills, makes money. So you can't just say, ooh, balloons, I'll go for that. You have to say, well, I need something that actually makes money, but also something that, like you said, connects with my why and that I won't get tired of and I'll persevere, especially in getting it up and running and especially in dealing with the problem solving. And so now we're getting into like talking about, well, when someone comes to you and they kind of talk to you like sort of like a therapist thing, and they kind of draw on your deep knowledge and get some of those early irreversible decisions out of the way. Like, okay, I need to narrow down what's my franchise going to be, get up and running. Like, I mean, there's the worry that like they might end up having to like be their own employee, right? Like I might have to be like making all the smoothies every day, or my franchise still might fail. And so like, what do you think that you did in your franchise journey that brought you to number one? Like, how do people make sure that they don't burn out and they also succeed growth and money wise?
For me, it was being ultimately being able to hire a manager. So delegating and letting go. Now, in some franchises, there's really three different models that you can choose from. You can be an owner operator, and this is maybe where you buy yourself a job, but you want to do the work. You want to be hands on. You want to be actively involved day to day. The second model's more semi-passive, where you might start in it, but it's not your end game to work in it every day. Ultimately, you want to work on your business, not in your business. And so you'll hire a manager, and then that gives you more freedom and flexibility. Some candidates may do that out of the gate, and some people may want to be more actively involved and ramped up. That's kind of what I did in my coffee smoothie business. And then the third model's more where it's built on more passive income, where think of like a machine where you set it and you forget it, or concepts that have, I call it mailbox money. Every month on the first of the month, you have money coming in. So think of like a fitness concept, something where there's membership or dues or fees that come in every single month. And so helping the candidate get clarity on which of those models fits their lifestyle the best, how actively they want to be in the day to day. What does it look like to bring in a manager? Because that is an investment, right? So that if you're going to run the day to day, or you're going to bring somebody in to help you run the day to day, all of these help you achieve the lifestyle and ultimately the dream business that you want to be in.
That's a great insight. This idea of, well, with these three paths, how much will be I involved with the day to day? Will I be involved from the start till the end, from the start, but then transition out, or not at all to have the mailbox money? And it's really it's fun to think about here, Stacy, because we like a lot of us we've heard of the E-Myth, right? Or at someone else's implementation of like work on your business, not in your business. But I don't think people take that seriously enough, right? Like as far as any kind of goal setting goes, you won't just randomly end up where you want to be. It's like a 1 in a million chance, but you will end up where you want to be if you say, hey, here's what I want to achieve in 2 years. And then you work backwards to make the action steps starting today to get there. And I wonder if a lot of people educate themselves about these E-Myth type ideas, and then they kind of eke along a little bit and they offload a little bit, but they still stay in the middle and stuck and frustrated. And I think that they perhaps need some of these plans like you're talking about. Say, well, if you really want to get yourself out of the business, then what will that look like? What will it be like having a manager come in? How soon do I want to do it? And then what do I have to do to make that happen? It's more exciting to think about, and it's like goal setting on steroids. And so to help us kind of get all these ideas in our head, right? There's all these amazing possibilities with these franchises we can plug into, these things we can achieve in our business. What am I not asking you here that I should be? What's the missing, hidden, invisible question in our conversation that I just don't know to ask you?
What's the perfect franchise for you, right? I bet you're wondering that, Robert.
I am. So what's the perfect franchise for you or for me?
the one that helps you achieve your why. So the good news is there's more than 4,000 different options to consider. The great news is that I have a 9-step proprietary system that I use. It's called the Franchise Roadmap, and it really guides you through much of what we've discussed today in helping you get clarity on your why, understanding what you ultimately want to get out of a business. What transferable skills and traits do you have that might come into business ownership? How involved or not involved do you want to be in the day-to-day? And then ultimately, is there territory available in your area? And one thing we didn't talk about today is for those who might want to be an empire builder. Some people think, oh, in a franchise, I'm just buying myself a job. But ultimately, you can own multiple areas or multiple territories. That's what I did in my coffee smoothie franchise. I do think that that's one of the attributes that helped me get to number one was by coming in with a empire builder mindset, and that I was dedicated to following the system, learning from the other franchisees of their successes, their failures or lessons learned, and using that to really help me grow and scale quickly. But that I wasn't going to be just one. I wanted to own and dominate the DC area, and so I did. So I think that was a key attribute that helped me become successful. And then what I do is I take what I've learned over my many years of business ownership and franchise ownership to help candidates learn and understand what might be their next. And I will be candid with you, Robert. Franchise ownership, business ownership, it's not for everyone. I mean, actually, most candidates that I talk to never make it to the end of that roadmap that I was just talking to you about. And that's okay. That to me is a successful outcome. Understanding that, hey, you're willing to be open to learning and exploring, but if you realize it's not for you, that's okay. Maybe there is another next. But I would challenge those people who are just uncomfortable, unhappy, miserable with where they are now. Maybe business ownership could be something that is really fulfilling and helps you do what you love and love what you do.
Well, these are some deep thoughts and deep questions that we're asking here, Stacy, and especially that insight of learning involves knowing if it's not for you, if it is time to quit, and the only way to find out is to go through the process and experience it and get advice and have someone be helpful for you. And so I love this idea of, let's say even you're going on the super crazy scaling route and you're building an empire of multiple locations in your area. What does that look like? How much money do you want to keep in the business? How obsessed do you want to be? How much do you want to learn from the other owners? And it's just, it all seems to come back to me of like two things, basically, right? There's kind of the one idea of, well, set your goals and figure out like how you want to get there and what you want to do. And then also just who will help you, and are you going to try to get it done on your own? And it's like, Stacey, we all ask ourselves questions and kind of just get mad at ourselves and feel comfortable even in our own head, right? So I wonder if someone out there is unsatisfied with their 9 to 5 and they're thinking about starting a business or thinking about a franchise. If some of these sub questions that we're asking kind of make them uncomfortable and twist them in knots, that's some kind of something to work on, right? And then if they can get past that, and then if they go and talk to you, and if the questions that you ask kind of shut them down again, well, that's something else to work on until they can get to the point of just navigating the maze of problem solving and setting up their franchise business and doing what they love and loving what they do. And how can they get on that journey with you? How can they contact you, and what are some next steps in order for them to solve this very worthwhile problem and venture of starting a franchise?
Well, thanks for asking. My home base is Next Level Franchise Group. So nextlevelfranchisegroup.com. On that website are tons of free resources, fun little quizzes that you can take that will guide you through learning at least some categories of franchises you might be a good match for. I'm always publishing content and videos and resources that might be helpful to you. And at any time, feel free to grab a day and time on my calendar by going to explore.nextlevelfranchisegroup.com.
Very nice. And I'm excited about the idea of a quiz here, Stacy, because it's logarithmic, isn't it? Like, let's say you said what, there's like 4,000 franchises. Did I get that right? And so let's say you take a quiz and you answer one question and that narrows it down to like 400. You answer it again, it narrows it down to 40. You answer again, it narrows it down to 4. It's like a quiz helps you just to eliminate choices and say, well, I do want that, I don't want that. And it's time to figure out what's our next. It's time to take our skills, talents, and passion to do something that's important to us. And this might mean you like to work independently, or you like to build a massive team, work from home, physical location. There is a franchise for you that will make you happy, fulfilled, and purpose-driven. You got this, especially by going to nextlevelfranchisegroup.com. They represent hundreds of franchises. You can read, you can get educated, you can take the quiz. But what Stacy really wants you to do is, once you're there, click on that button to schedule time with her and explain your situation and say, I've done a little bit of research, just enough to get a little bit confused by all the Google searching. And wouldn't it be great if you went on a similar journey as Stacy mentioned, where she kind of had some idea, and then so the right person asked the right questions, and they said, hey, you should start this smoothie coffee Hawaiian chain, or create a location in that chain. And you never know unless you try. And there's no harm in asking and having this conversation with Stacey Riska, your franchise placement specialist. That's nextlevelfranchisegroup.com. Grab a 15-minute slot on her calendar. And before I let you go, Stacy, it's time for the frightening, scary, terrifying part of the show, where I try to stump you. I try to put you on the spot by asking for a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you in life or in business. So what comes to mind as far as a helpful quote or lesson for us?
Oh my goodness. Well, that would be a whole nother podcast in and of itself, Robert. So I will leave your audience with the hashtag that I share with everyone, which is hashtag you got this. So no matter where you are in life, no matter where you are in business, I want you to know hashtag you got this. And if you're open to learning and exploring what might be your next, you just might end up in a place where you can do what you love and love what you do.
Helpful and inspiring. You got this. It's time to figure that out. No one said it would be easy, but perhaps it's worthwhile. It's worth taking the risk. Life is short. You only get one of them. So go to nextlevelfranchisegroup.com and do some of this research. You could spend a few minutes watching TV or watching YouTube or doom scrolling social media, but how about doing something that changes the trajectory of your life, like looking into what kind of franchise you can plug in with the help of Miss Stacey Riska at nextlevelfranchisegroup.com. We will see you there. And thanks, Stacy, for being just so much fun, being entertaining, and educating us at the same time. I really appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Robert. Keep up the great work.